Well, what's going on? Emerge the Real Estate Podcast. Man, I am excited about this episode. I know I say that every week, but I'm telling you, the content and the people that I am bringing to you I'm just excited. I'm excited for you because I'm hopefully introducing you to people that will do one or two things. If you are an investor that's sitting on the fence, hopefully by the guests and the content that we're sharing will get you off the fence to take action. And two, if you are a established real estate investor, a seasoned investor, and you want to scale, well, I'm telling you, I have the people that's proof that yes, you can scale your business. And so today is not, I mean, it's just a wonderful episode. I get a chance to introduce a friend, someone who I've watched. I've got a chance to see grow, and man, I'm telling you, I'm just blown away. And I say this about this guest all the time. I said, when you go to the dictionary, and you look in the dictionary under the word resilience, you're going to see a picture of my guest, Alvin Hope Johnson. But Alvin is so cold that not only do you see his picture in resilience, but when you turn and you look up tenacity, there his picture is again, Alvin Hope Johnson. And so, man, I'm just excited to have my friend Alvin on today. And before I let him introduce himself, I got to first tell you that this Emerge the Real Estate Podcast is brought to you by Victory Capital. And Victory Capital exists for one reason and one reason only, and that is to connect investors to the capital that they need to fund their projects. Check us out at victorycapital.com. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to allow him to introduce himself. This is Alvin Hope Johnson. He's a multifamily syndicator, operator, owns. I'll let him explain all the things he owns because I can't keep up. So Alvin, introduce yourself, man.
Good afternoon, Mr. Bukhari. Man, thank you for such the introduction. My name is Alvin Hope Johnson, and man, I'm just an aspiring real estate enthusiast. And thank you for giving me an opportunity to talk a little bit about my past and where we've been and where we're going. As you guys can see, I'm driving today. It never stops. I don't have my airplane yet, but we're working on that. So, Aleem said my picture is under resilience and under tenacity. And I can tell you that if you've got any kind of a dream, wake up and get to work. And it's not going to be easy, but I promise you it'll be worth it. So wow. That is the story of my life.
Well, good deal. And see, folks, I told you, I mean, whenever I need inspiration, and I'm a very positive person, but man, whenever I get down, all I have to do is just call Alvin, and just some of the projects that he's taken on, I'm like, you doing what? With what? He's like, yeah. And it comes to fruition. So Alvin, tell us about your rise to, or your transition from residential to multifamily.
Okay, well, I've always been in the real estate business, and that sounds really illustrious today, but when I started, I was painting closets in $1 million houses, so that really wasn't that fun. So I went from learning how to paint houses to being a paint contractor when the guy that I was working for went out of business. So that was the first step. The guy I was working for went out of business, and I had to make a choice. Do I take what I've learned over the last 2 years and go monetize that, or do I shrink back and I go get me another job and go work for somebody else? And there's nothing wrong with either path. But what I chose to do was knock on doors and say, hey, I'll paint your house for $200 if you buy the paint. And I did several houses in this really nice neighborhood in Beaumont, Texas back in the 80s. And after I'd done about, 15 or 20 houses, this guy opened the door and said, hey, I know you. You're Alvin Johnson. You work for this guy. and I need you to be my paint contractor for a hotel. So I became a big-time paint contractor and made my first $1 million before I was 21 years old. That led me, Aleem, into doing full-time renovations in the single-family space. In 1996, which is probably before some of your audience was born. So the guys that think, man, I've been doing this forever, it's been a whole 6 months. Grow up and realize it's going to take you a whole lot longer than that. But I got into that, mortgages, and then I had another very successful mortgage company when I met you back in about 2000 or something like that, right? 2001, 2.
Mm-hmm.
And after that mortgage company did really well until 2007, I had to pivot. So here we are in the middle of a pandemic. Some people sitting at home wondering what they're going to do. Some people are losing their jobs. Some people's jobs are making them pivot. They don't know what to do, which way to go. Wake up, pull yourself up, put your big boy pants on, and figure it out. Well, I had to figure it out. The mortgage industry had crashed, and nobody was refinancing houses. I had done super well, but I hadn't done well enough to retire in my 40s or 30s, right? So I got into this space by serving. Now, Mr. Kapari, you're a pastor. You lead people, leadership, and generosity. You can't outgive God, and you can't be super generous, too generous. So I got into this business because I met a guy that owned 16,000 apartments, and I had an opportunity to serve him. It didn't come easy. I met him. He told me he would allow me to, he wanted to help me, and he gave me a homework assignment. And for 3 weeks, that homework assignment was wrong. Nope, that's wrong, go do this. Nope, that's wrong, go do this. Nope, that's wrong, go do that. And then he quit answering my call. Talk about letting the air out, because I thought I just hit it. This guy's super rich. He's a billionaire. He's got all these apartments. Maybe I'll go paint for him. Maybe I'll go do some work for him. Maybe I'll do some mortgages. No, he quit answering my call. But I felt really compelled for a year to either text, email, or call him and give him some kind of encouraging message, or to let him know I was still around. And I did that every week for a year. February 2008, he picks up the phone and says, Alvin, I'm tired of you calling me. I've never seen anybody that wants it as bad as you say you want it. So if you really want to know, come to Amarillo, Texas, where we're based, and I'll show you what we do for 30 days. I got the biggest suitcase I could find, and I put everything in it that my ex-wife hadn't thrown out of the house, and I moved to Amarillo. So some of these guys may be wondering about, man, I'm sleeping in my car. Where do I go? What do I do? How do I pick myself up? I had absolutely nothing. And I went to Amarillo, and he put me up for 30 days, and I got to see big business from a whole different picture. Airs, you name it. Lexus is parked all over the country at the private airport. So when we get off the private plane, they roll out the red carpet and drop the keys to your Lexus in your hand. Totally different kind of business. And I got to walk with him for 30 days. Got ready to send me home, or he asked me what I was going to do my 30 days enough to inspire you. I said, I've seen enough that I'm not leaving unless you send me home. Now, I'm volunteering. I told him, I'll sharpen your pencil, shine your shoes. I just need to be in the room. I don't care. I'm 40 years old serving somebody else in this capacity. Well, 13 months later, 12 months later, he died in a car wreck, and I became the president of this $1 billion foundation. Foundation was in bankruptcy after he died. Founder died. That's just part of the course for a big business like that with no succession plan. Talk about succession plans. Everybody on this podcast setting up businesses. What happens if you can't work tomorrow? What happens if you die tomorrow? Is your wife or your significant other going to be able to take over the business and keep it going? Or your kids going to be able to keep it going? Who's your second in command? Who's going to pick up the torch and keep it going? He didn't have that. $1.5 billion foundation went into bankruptcy, and I became the president because I was the only guy that knew where all the properties were. And I'll back up a little bit. I was not an avid reader, but when he gave me access, I started reading partnership agreements. 200, 300-page partnership agreements on these $1 million transactions, and I had no idea why I was reading. When he died, guess what? I knew what those partnership agreements said. I knew what they meant. I knew how to structure partnerships. I became the right guy for that job. So success only happens when preparation meets opportunity. I would have had the opportunity, but had I not prepared myself, I would not have been successful in that seat. Well, when that gig ended, I wound up with this company, which is now Hope Housing Foundation. We put a board together. The board hired me to lead the charge to go buy some apartments. Woohoo! Sounds great, fantastic. We didn't have no money. We have no credit. Didn't have any experience. I sat there and unwound $1.5 billion company, so I kind of had some idea of what to do, but we had never done this. And some of your audience may be people of color. All the guys are sitting up talking about how much of a victim they are because they're black, and nobody's giving them exposure or access to I don't want to hear it, because I've never had a black man help me. Every opportunity that has come to me has come because I worked my tail off for it. And because I was willing to do that, God opened some extraordinary doors for me and allowed me to walk in. And that's my story.
Wow. I have heard your story, I mean, several times, and each time I'm still just like sitting there like, because you know, I was privy to have somewhat of a, I won't say a front row seat. I had kind of a second row seat to your life from 2000 up
For the
until
last
then.
20 years.
Yeah. And so so yeah, so that was, every time I hear that story, man, it just blows me away. So Alvin, let's talk about where you are today. What
Yes,
Hope Housing Foundation? How many units do you guys have, and how much real estate do you guys control?
Today we own 1,254 units. That's a real small number. Our organization has been responsible for the development of up to about 5,000 units, meaning being a limited partner, general partner, putting together partnerships, and then bowing out and letting somebody else take it. Several different ways that we put together our transactions that way. But today we own 1,254 units.
Wow.
Value, little over 100 million.
Okay.
And keep in mind, I said we started with no money, no credit,
right.
no experience.
Right. Wow. So man, what would you tell the person in the audience that's they want to scale, they want to emerge from out of the shadows of, of probably they may own, a few units or whatever, but what would you tell them to get them to help them scale to that next level?
Well, I can't say what to tell them.
Okay.
But I can tell you what has worked for me.
Okay.
The first thing I did was I put myself in a room with somebody that had what I wanted.
Okay. At
any cost. So at that time, for me, the best way for me to do that, I ain't had nothing else going on, so I went to volunteer for this guy. And because I was willing to volunteer for him, I got to sit up close and personal to multi-million-dollar transactions taking place.
Okay.
And if I didn't watch them take place, I got to see them up close and personal to where I could help unwind them when that time came, and I didn't know that's why I was there. So what I would tell them is to find somebody that has what you want and do whatever it takes to get close to them.
Okay.
Sometimes you got to pay them. Sometimes you've got to go work for them. Sometimes you have to call them for a year. Sometimes whatever it's going to take. Sometimes that is through taking a course. Of a simple course is sometimes buy his book and then take and study that guy. So that's the first thing, Elaine. And by doing that, I think it will not only allow you to be in that room to where more is caught than taught, but you'll be catching that, so you're growing the whole time. And then secondly, you have to, I would say, unselfishly be able to make somebody else's dream ours. So for me today, the thing that fuels me is that we've got 40-something employees, associates. We've got about 60 or 70 some odd subcontractors that work for us almost every day. And the simplest thing for a leasing agent, her dream today, maybe just to have a job that she can go to every day and she's still getting paid throughout the pandemic. Guess what? I get to fulfill that and make her dream come true. I may have a property manager that used to be an assistant manager, and now all she wants in her near dream is to be a manager. And I can give that and fulfill her dream today. We've got people that just want to have an apartment that looks nice. Guess what? I get to be a part of fulfilling that dream. And so the more people's dreams you make come true, Zig said that yours are automatic.
Right.
So if everybody around me is winning and happy and their dreams coming true, and I'm the rainmaker making that happen with God's help, man, the sky's the limit for me.
Yeah. Wow. So, we've talked about the person that wanted to scale. What about the person that's still sitting on the fence?
Well, how's that working out?
See, okay, hold on. I'm gonna have to give a disclaimer right here. All right, because Alvin and I share this in common, in that we are both very practical, and that we just cut straight to the chase. And so when I need encouragement, when I'm feeling down, I call Alvin Johnson, because he's gonna tell me exactly what he told you. Is that how is that working out? And so, so now you can carry on, Alvin.
Okay, so the guy that's sitting on the fence. I could give you some biblical reference to that, or I can just tell you're never gonna get anywhere sitting on the fence. You're gonna have to jump off, even if it's on the wrong side. But you got to go somewhere, and you're never gonna know that you're on the right side or the wrong side until you get off the fence.
All right.
But if you happen to jump off the fence, be sure you jump off on the side of that guy that you want to emulate, or on the side of that company that you want your company to be like, to go to the next level, even if it's an entry level. You just can't do nothing sitting on the fence.
Okay. All right. Good deal. So, Alvin, I know that one of the things that you do, because you do like to give and you do like to add value to people. So one of the things that you're doing is called the multifamily monopoly. So talk to us about the multifamily monopoly and how this may be the answer that some people are looking for.
Okay, well, thank you for that. And what I want to say is I'm not selling anything, because I don't want to have to convince anybody that the program we have is for them. That's not what it's about. But what me and my team have done, we have taken my 35 plus years of real estate experience, and we have compiled as much of that around the multifamily space as we could into a 6 to 8 week virtual boot camp. Now I say it's 6 weeks, but the current course we're in right now is going to take maybe 7, maybe 8 weeks, just because we make sure, my goal is to make sure that the people that go through our boot camp actually have enough information when they finish to go out and buy their first deal. Now, is that a duplex? Is that 5,000 units? Is that 20 units? That's really up to them, because I can't tell you how big your dream's supposed to be. I can't tell you what you can go do. But what I can tell you is that I can tell you that methods are many, principles are few. Methods always change, but principles never do. And the principles that we teach through this process are principles that you can use on a 20-unit deal, a 500-unit deal, a 10-unit deal, it doesn't matter. So these principles are tried and true. We've used them to build our portfolio. I've learned from some of the best in the game. I don't say I know it all, but so that's what we do with this multifamily monopoly. It's a virtual program. where I am actually teaching the courses, and we're walking through everything from what is raw land all the way through what is a B, C, D property class, all the way through underwriting this and understanding cap rates, NOIs, CapEx, and the whole 9 yards, everything that you'll need to know in a multifamily transaction.
Wow. So I know that there's a couple of students that you have that have experienced some tremendous success. So would you like to talk about some of your students, or some of some of the people that have attended, some of the success that they've had?
I know of one of the guys, and so success is not always it's not guaranteed, right?
Right.
But I've got a guy that went through my program in November. Now, he's a lifelong learner.
Mm-hmm.
So he's been to 8, 9 different boot camps, multifamily seminars, and joined all of these guys' programs, but he had never executed. He said, Alvin, I learned it all in theory, but nobody ever walked me through the process.
Mm-hmm.
When Derek finished our program, he was able to go out and put 1,236 units under contract in Toledo, Ohio. He lives in St. Louis, so it's not location. This is a location independent business on this level. And he's actually going to wound up closing about 332 of those units. And the reason he decided not to buy all 1,200 of them, because they all weren't good deals. Mm-hmm. And you learn through this process, in our opinion, what's a good deal. And I will try to help you craft your own opinion, because depending on what kind of capital you have, or money you have, or credit you have, or experience you have, or partners that you're going to have, my type of investment may be good for you, may not be good for you. The type of investment that I do was good for Derek. And Derek said, man, based on this model, I don't think I could refinance this deal and get all my partners their money back. I said, well, maybe it's not a good deal. Mm-hmm. So he passed up on something. So that's one of the guys that just took massive action as soon as he got done with the course. Mm-hmm. Another one of my guys, Mike Oliver. Mike said, hey, man, I want to build an apartment complex. I've got the land. I think I can raise all the money. I can do this, that, and the other. Can you help me put this deal together so that I can, I said, well, Mike, methods are many, principles are few. Methods always change, principles never do. I've never built an apartment complex from the ground up, but the financing is all the same. The numbers are all the same. If you can get your construction component piece together, when you walk through this boot camp, I believe you will have enough information to be able to size this deal up to where you can give it to a banker and get your loan done. And so he wanted a little more coaching. So we have some direct coaching opportunities that he took advantage of. And we're walking his deal all the way through. He's got his land rezoned now. And I was able to help him do that. And he took action. We've got a guy that didn't have any real estate experience at all going through this. But he was just so happened to be a guy that was so for, and so he's sitting here collecting $600 a month rent and wondering why he can't get ahead. And I said, well, why don't you take those houses that you bought for $30,000 each? They're free and clear now, and they're probably worth about $90 a piece. You can go to a $5,000 loan on each one of these deals, and now you got $110,000 that you can take and go put down on a 20-unit apartment complex. There's your 20% down, and now you got 22 units paying you that much money. Mm-hmm. And he said, but what about debt? They always tell me I'm supposed to pay my house off, and now I have no more. I could do that now. And I said, and how's that working out for you? You can go take the same money where the tenants are already there and let them pay back all the money you're going to go borrow to get another $120,000 to go buy 20 more units. And he said, I never thought about it like that. And I said, well, and that's a guy who had no multifamily experience, but he was smart enough to have paid cash for two $30,000 houses. Well,
Wow.
I say he was smart enough. You know, if had 10 years ago, had he taken that $60,000 and invested it in a 20-unit deal, he may have 500 units by now because the multiplier, right, just works. And now he's figuring that out and may take my advice and everybody's on a different playing field, but I think the thing that matters the most is somebody's desire to want to get started, and then somebody's ability. I can't teach tenacity. I can't teach resilience, but I can teach you the principles.
Okay.
Succeed in being a multifamily business.
Okay. So it sounds like this multifamily monopoly is for the inexperienced as well as the experienced, because if you don't own any and you've always wanted to own some, it's good for you. And if you are an owner of multifamily properties, you can help them going through the multifamily monopoly. You could help them scale to own more
properties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
and it's all in the thought process and in the execution. So yes, sir. I think we can.
Okay. So how can somebody get in contact with you if they are interested and they want to find out some more information about multifamily monopoly?
Well, I'm Alvin Hope Johnson on all the social platforms. And then for my website is alvinhopejohnson.com. Given about 24 minutes, I think it is, of information about the multifamily business. And then there's also a link on there. You can sign up for the multifamily boot camp. I believe we've got a masterclass recording coming out in about 2 weeks. And I'm going to tell you that this boot camp experience, the boot camp experience costs, I think it's $1,497, almost $1,500. We've compiled 35 years worth of real estate experience into this. I know that there are other programs out there that cost $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 that I don't believe will give you the same value. I'd love to walk as many people through this process as possible. That's why I'm teaching these boot camps, to tell anybody this is possible. It's not, I didn't have a magic bullet. I wish I did. I didn't have $1 million loan in the beginning. I wished I would have. But anything is possible, man. So again, thank you for the opportunity to share a piece of my story with the audience.
All right, man. Well, good deal. So if you could give me about 5 minutes, I'm going to ask you a couple of rapid fire questions, if you would. So the first one is if somebody's coming to town to have dinner with you, what's your favorite restaurant that you're going to take them to?
Maybe Del Frisco's.
Del Frisco's. All right. And what book are you currently reading right now?
I've got about 6 of them going right now. The one I listened to this morning was 10X.
Okay.
Grant Cardone 10X.
Okay. All right. Good deal. And then this one is kind of deep, so I don't know how rapid this one would be, but what would Alvin now tell 18-year-old Alvin?
Don't quit.
Don't quit. Good deal.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, man, most of the failures or lack of success I've had, Aleem, started with my mindset that I was less than, or that I was not as qualified as this guy, or I was not as qualified as that guy. And so I put all those limits on myself. What I would tell the young Alvin is don't be afraid and try to get 5,000 no's.
Wow.
Don't be afraid of the one no.
Right.
Go get 5,000 of them. Because
Right.
if you're selling, you're perfecting your game.
Right.
And I promise you'll have some big hits before you get to 5,000 no's.
Wow. Well, Alvin, as always, man, I enjoy our conversation. I could talk to you for hours on end. I'm gonna have to bring you back on. But I'm going to put all of the contact information in the show notes. So I know that you have to go. You're actually going to look at an apartment complex right now. So thank you for taking out the time to speak with us. And Alvin, I wish you just much success, man. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you, Aleem. I sure appreciate you, man. And tell the family I said hi, and let's get together next week sometime.
All right, Alvin. Sounds good, man. I appreciate you, okay?
Thank you.
All right.
Yes, sir. God bless.
Thank you. All right, bye.